Today we're diving into a source with a really provocative title, Profiting from War, the Systemic Betrayal of Nature. Now this text makes some pretty huge claims about how our world is set up. So our job in this explainer is to just unpack those arguments piece by piece. We're going to use these slides to see exactly what the source is trying to say. Let's get right into it. Okay, so here's our roadmap for this. First, we're going to tackle the core claim, this idea of a system of betrayal. Then, we'll look at the economic engine the source says is behind it all. From there, we'll dive into this fundamental disconnect from nature that's, central to the whole argument. We'll check out the historical examples it offers, and then wrap up with the big, final question the text leaves us hanging with.
All right, section 1. We're jumping right into the deep end here with the source's central claim. And this is really the foundation for everything else it argues, this whole idea of a systemic betrayal.
Yeah, the source really doesn't pull any punches. This is its opening shot, its core thesis, right out of the gate. The argument here isn't just that our international systems have some flaws. No, it's that they are designed this way. The claim is that international laws, even big organizations like the UN, are specifically built to let certain countries profit from war.
So, you gotta ask, what's the motive behind a system like that? Well, according to this text, the answer is simple. Money and resources. It argues that these conflicts are basically engineered to steal minerals and other forms of wealth from, as it says, peaceful people. And right there, that's where the geopolitics connects directly to the economics of it all.
Okay, so how does this whole profit thing actually work? I mean, what's the mechanism? This is where the source moves from the why to the how, and it lays out a specific economic engine that it calls profiting from deception.
So here's how the text actually defines that kind of economy. The key words to really pay attention to are manipulation and deception. The argument is that this isn't, your standard free market. Nope, it's a system that's built on trickery, all to gain what it calls unfair political interests and, of course, to make a profit. And to make this idea a little less abstract, the source gives some concrete examples of what it calls inhuman businesses. And wow, it's a really broad list, isn't it? We're talking drugs, alcohol, gambling, all the way to things like exploitation of the human mind and human energy and bodies. The point the author seems to be making here is that this system doesn't just profit from wars far away, it also makes money by creating harm right at home. Okay, now we're getting to what feels like the real philosophical heart of this argument. The source basically sets up this huge contrast, right? A collision between two totally different systems, the one we've built and the one that belongs to nature.
And you can really see that contrast laid out here. On one side, you've got the man-made system. The source claims this whole thing is about creating scarcity where there shouldn't be any, all to create profitable business traps. But then you look at the other side, nature's system. And it's described as the complete opposite, total abundance, giving everything away for free. This idea, this fundamental clash, is absolutely central to the text's entire argument.
So, what's the end result of splitting ourselves off from nature like this? According to the source, it creates this world of deep, totally artificial scarcity. The argument is that we live on a planet that's naturally abundant, but this system leaves people without their most basic needs. That image of being so hungry you can't even find a single piece of fruit. Man, that's meant to be the ultimate tragic outcome of it all. Okay, so we've got the theory, we've got the economic model, and we've got the philosophy behind it. Now the source turns to history to try and back all this up, pointing to specific conflicts as evidence for its claims. And the way it frames its historical proof is with this really direct question. It's basically challenging you, the reader, to look back at history, at all the wars and massacres, and to ask yourself, do these events fit the profit-driven pattern that's just been described? So here are the specific examples the author actually cites. The text points to wars and massacres involving Israel. It talks about wars and genocide conducted by the United States since the UN Charter. It alleges that the actions in places like Iraq, Libya, and Palestine were all based on falsehoods. And it also claims the US is targeting Venezuela against the will of its own people. And just so we're clear, we are simply presenting these examples exactly as they're laid out in the source text.
And all of that brings us to the source's conclusion. After laying out the theory, the economics, the philosophy, and the history, it all comes together, building up to one last, really powerful thought.
So, if you boil it all down, this is the main takeaway. The core argument, in a nutshell, is that our global system isn't broken at all. In fact, it's working exactly the way it was designed to generate profit from war.
And the secret ingredient, the key mechanism that makes it all work, according to the source, is intentionally cutting humanity off from the natural world's abundance to create scarcity.
And so, this is the final question the source leaves us to chew on. It's a challenge, really. It's asking us to look at the huge systems that run our world and decide for ourselves what their true purpose is. Are they an engine designed for profitable conflict? Or are they a framework for genuine peace? The source definitely makes its own case loud and clear, but it leaves that final judgment up to you. Thanks for joining us for this explainer.